My name is Penny Psalm, and I wanted to talk to you today about Me Too a little bit. I did a shout out to friends and people who have experienced similar situations of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, sexual assault, and so on, and asked them to share their stories here with you so you could put faces with names and stories and know that this is real. It's just not what's happening in the movies or what's happening with many people right now, news anchors and congressmen and women who are coming forward and finally being able to speak their truths. And for those of you who are unable to share, we support you, we back you, and we are holding you up. This is a very personal thing, and we don't want anyone to feel badly for not sharing their story. So as most of you know, I am a survivor of child sexual abuse and emotional abuse, and have fought hard for people to find their voices and to get some laws changed. And that was all at the hands of my biological father for over 17 years. And I've also been sexually harassed in several workplaces. I'm a little bit larger breasted and end up with eyes and Googling and conversations and statements being made, which thankfully hasn't happened in the last probably 7 years, 6 years, but most definitely happened before then, with even a CEO of a company who decided to make some comments about my breast size. So it does happen, it is out there, and I just want everyone to be aware that you are seen and you are heard and you matter, and that even if you're not ready to speak and talk about what happened to you, that we see you and we know that your experiences are valid, and that we want to just support you even in your silence if that's what you need, or in your voice if that's what you need. So we're here, we're a community for you. So please give your attention to the people behind me in this video, hear them, see them, and know that they too are people who matter. And my deepest thanks to all of you for listening, and we just want to make things visible and share. So here you go. Bye.
The Me Too campaign is important to me because it's important to sharing stories. My initial story involves rape, and that affected my entire life up until today. But there's a specific story that I want to share that really involves the Me Too campaign, and that is when I was an agent at 16 years old of a tanning salon, and the owner of the tanning salon called me back to the room and asked me to bring his lotion to him. And when I got back to the room with his lotion, he was standing there stark naked, and his wife had given me a necklace that she had found within the salon. And when he saw the necklace on my neck, he was like, "Oh, did Paula give that to you?" Again, he's stark naked, and he touched my neck as he said, "Did Paula give that to you?" And it just completely was 100% wrong. He was married. I was 16, disgusting, and he was naked, disgustingly naked. And I went home. I told my father about it at the time, and he made an abrupt phone call to him, and needless to say, I was never at that job again. And so I'm circling both these stories together because these issues can be as deep as rape, which affects your whole life, but you think that you're never going to be, go through something so tragic, but that it's not going to happen to you again. And there's enough of this chaos in this world and socialism around sexual unwanted advances that are not contained, that there could be multiple occurrences. So in that regard, I am saying, me too.
Hello everyone, this is Cecil Contreras, the founder of It Was Me campaign. I was invited to share my story and spread awareness. First of all, I just want to say that you're not alone. My story begins, I was first sexually abused by my paternal grandmother, and then I was sexually abused by my biological father for 5 years. I managed to run away. I told the police. He was arrested. He was sentenced to 10 years. From those 10 years, he did 5 years and he came out with parole. Meanwhile, my family abandoned me. They didn't want nothing to do with me. They rejected me, and I was placed in 7 foster homes. In these foster homes, I was also physically and sexually abused. Again, that warrior, that little warrior in me, that fighter, trying to run away from abuse. I ran away. I lived homeless in the streets of New York for 7 months. Unfortunately, my story doesn't end there. I was trafficked to Colombia. I was tortured. I was raped, and I was sold to different men for 6 months. I was rescued and I was brought back to the United States. I'm not gonna lie, the healing journey has been very, very difficult. I was a very broken young woman. I had no self-esteem. All the abuse that I had gone through all my life had taken away everything good that I had. But I'm glad that I managed to take the steps and find help and find a good support network, people that could empower me and mentor me and can help me, because this is a journey that we need help. We can't do this alone. So it's been 22 years of peace. It's been 22 years of freedom. It's been 22 years of breaking the silence and helping my community. It's been 22 years of helping survivors. And I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful that I was able to survive, that I was able to make it, and that I'm able to share my story and help others and also spread awareness. I hope that the stories that we share here today empower you, gives you a little bit of healing, and makes you feel less alone. Thank you.
My name is Kelly, and this is my Me Too story. Here's a picture of me when I was 13 years old. It was 1974, and my family was living in Alaska. I was running with a bit of an older crowd at the time. I had messed around with the guys, some heavy petting, but never anything farther than that. Even though I was running with an older crowd, I was still quite naive. One of the older girls in the group was a single mom, and she was dating a guy, I think he was 24 or 25. She asked me to come over and babysit for her, which I was glad to do. Her baby was taking a nap, and her boyfriend came to the door. And he brought along with him a 6-pack of beer, which I proceeded to drink along with him. And I got drunk. And that was when he raped me. It was painful. It was shocking. I told him no over and over again, and I felt so powerless. After he left, I called one of the other girls in the group. I was completely in shock. I was freaking out. I was bleeding. I didn't completely understand what had happened. I felt guilty because I let him in and because I drank the beer. She came over, presumably to help me. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was that she almost immediately told the girl who was the girlfriend of the guy who raped me. After that, in addition to the trauma of the rape, I experienced the trauma of having a gang of girls constantly threatening me, beating me up, following me around town. And something within me broke. The possibility of who I could have been died. That man, that day that he chose to rape me, killed that girl. And I'm not sorry for what I've become and who I've become. It's part of what made me who I am today. However, the reality is that that man killed part of me that day. And then what happened was, because I was targeted as the person, the bad guy, the guy who had slept with somebody else's boyfriend, something else broke within me. I decided that I was going to treat sex the way that guys treated sex. It was going to be about power and not about pleasure. I was going to use them and lose them before they could use me. And I became very promiscuous, which finally resulted, well, I got a good boyfriend, and by the time I was 15, I was pregnant. And a week before I was 16, I gave birth to my daughter. I didn't have another child again for 8 years, but that rape triggered that series of events, and especially warping my perspective of what sex is. This is my Me Too story. I hope that it will inspire you to speak out of your own story. And if you're not ready to, that's okay. I just want you to know you are not alone. You can rise above an event that may have stolen your innocence. You can rise above, and you can help others know that they are not alone either.